All right, I'm going to show you really quickly how I do bone inlay. First of all, your bone. Beef bone. It's really simple to cut. It's easy. You can use antler. I've got this big antler palm right here. It's from a moose. You could use something like this. Whatever you're going to use, when you get your bone, you're going to want to get it flat. So with this beef bone, for example, I forgot how it went. Anyway, it went like this. I just cut it with a hacksaw. And if it's still not completely flat, what you can do is take like a rasp. It's a farrier's rasp, or really rough sandpaper. This is from a belt sander. All right. Just get that nice and flat. Much easier to work with, to draw on. And then you're just going to draw out your shape, no matter how complicated or how simple your shape is. This is a bone inlay that I'm doing on a flute. It's a mermaid, and it's actually three-piece. This is brass for the hair, stone malachite down here, and then the white is bone on top. So you just connect. So it's really three separate sections added together. So no matter how complicated you're going to do it, it's the same exact technique. All right, you got your bone. Flatten it out. Now what I'm going to do is draw the shape that I want to take out. In this case, I'm going to do 3 hearts. So I'm just going to draw, and when you draw your shape, whatever it is, always go a little bit larger than what you're going to want to end up with, okay? So I'm just going to see if I can squeeze 3 in here. This stuff is really never that complicated. It's just draw your heart. That's all you do. And I guess I'll just do another one right over here. Anywhere I have room. Alright, so I got my 3 hearts. Okay, now you can take your hacksaw in some cases and, you know, cut through if you have a lot of space, and then as you get closer, I just use tile nips just to start. Now you always want to wear glasses. I'm not wearing them right now because I'm just showing you, but you can start to break it down just with the tile to get close. You're going to get as close as you possibly can without cutting into your lines, and then I'll show you how I do my final shaping from there. Alright, so I got it in the vise. After I'm just doing one, and then I'm going to take just a regular file and start shaping it. And I'm just going to give it the rough shape, following those lines still. It also helps to put it in a vise like this when you have your hacksaw. Just get it down to the closest you possibly can. You really can't see from over there. Come over this side. Okay, I'm just getting it down close to that line. I don't think this is nearly as complicated as some people make it out to be. Alright. I'm just going to flip it over now. That's roughly the top of the heart. I'm going to flip it over and do the underside. I'll come back. Okay, I'm forming the bottom of the heart. You can see this is upside down. I just want to point something out to you. As I'm filing, okay, I want to make sure that if this is going to be the face, excuse me, the front, okay, I'm going to give it a slight undercut. Just a slight undercut, not much at all. This way, back into the piece. Because if I do it the other way, you're going to end up with a gap, right? So, you know, if this is the piece that it's going into, and I angle the cut this way, you're going to end up with a gap. But if I angle it this way slightly, it'll fit nice and snug. So that's what I'm doing right now, just giving it that slight undercut. That back side. Kind of like a coping technique, I guess. Alright. So you can see I'm starting to form that heart. And I've got that slight bevel backwards. Alright, so now the next step is the smaller detail. And to do the small detail, And again, I'm showing you a heart. It's not that complicated. You go get yourself really cheap. I think for $10, I got all these little files, different shapes. You can heat them up, but in this particular case, I'm going to use this particular shape right here. It's flat on one side, and then you've got this angle. So that's going to form the top of my heart. All right, right in here. So I'm just going to start cutting in. If you didn't have that, you just use a straight one and just cut 2 angles. And then you would round it out and use sandpaper or whatever. All right, so let me get this down a little bit, and then I'll finish this heart up and show you how I get it into the piece. All right, so this is where I am right now with the heart. Hope you can see that. It's nice and small. Okay. To finish that up, I just use a little bit of sandpaper. Not a big deal. Okay. Make that nice and smooth. Again, making sure you keep that undercut. I'm not going to show you the actual inlay in this video. I'll do that in another one. I just wanted to show you how to carve the bone. Give you some ideas. Hearts are really easy to practice on. Alright. And then your final sanding will be after this is in the material. You're going to leave it, and when you inlay it, I'll show you that in another video, you inlay it into your material and you leave it exposed just a little bit so that you sand it down smooth, and that'll be your final. And if you want to do any detail work on top, you can do that once it's inlaid. So that's it.